Our next speaker is Scott from the Sustainable Australia Fund, who'll talk a little bit about upgrade finance and what it all means from a lender's perspective. Scott's been with the fund since 2010. He's got over 15 years or close to 20 years of experience in this field. Was also involved in the Clinton Climate Initiative back in his day, and has made a substantial contribution to the growth of upgrade finance in Australia, bringing the concept from the US back to Australia and planting the seed at the City of Melbourne back in his day. I'll hand it over to Scott now.
Thanks very much for that, Ed. Look, I'm conscious of time. I'll try and scoot through this and try and open it up for questions where the value is. So enough of my pretty picture there. If we can move on to the next slide and the next one. So I guess fundamentally, Sustainable Australia Fund, who are we? We are a for impact lender. So we only invest in positive impact environmental projects. All of our money is invested in making the world a better place. We were originally set up by Melbourne City Council way back when sustainability was a new word, back in 2000. And I, as Ed mentioned there, I worked with the funds to create what is now known as environmental upgrade finance, which we can talk about now. So next slide. At the essence here, what is environmental upgrade agreements? Environmental upgrade finance is basically, it's a loan which is repaid through your council rates. The benefits of an EUA is it's more money for your business. It has non-traditional security, meaning that additional to your current funding facilities for your business, this can go on top, and it helps fund projects that reduce input costs into your business. So the long-term nature of the project, the finance enables cash flow to come into your business today, and with inflation on the horizon, and indeed with us, every cent in your business today helps reduce input costs where it's very hard sometimes to pass costs on to customers. So a dollar today is worth more than a dollar tomorrow, particularly with inflation coming out here. It has non-traditional finance, so there's no registrations of mortgage, there's no registrations on the PPSR, no mortgage over your home. This is really secured by council rates. Long-term finance increases cash flow. This is a principal and interest repayment. So the longer you spread that out, the lower the annual repayments. So we can tailor the term of a loan to put more cash into your business today. The form of finance is attached to the property. So that has a number of different benefits. One of which is where you might be a tenant in that you, under normal leases, outgoings are paid for by a tenant. So this can be 100% paid for by a tenant. And so there's that benefit share. You know, the tenants get positive cash flow and the landlord gets an improved building. And also when you sell the property, the charge can stay with the land. That means the solar system would stay with the land. The new tenant coming into that, also the new owner coming into that, would get the benefit of the system as well. So this is really designed to overcome a couple of barriers to investing in these types of projects, particularly in tenanted space. But ultimately, the benefit here is with terms up to 20 years, we have the ability to put more cash in your business today. If you can go on to the next slide. We have a range of products. These are all environmental upgrade agreements, but they all target different types of projects. So rather uniquely named, Solar Fund is a fixed rate long-term loan that targets solar and increasingly batteries for business. Upgrade Fund really starts to look at more bespoke interventions, and I can show a couple of case studies that are a little bit more bespoke around that, including energy efficiency, water.
Oh, looks like Scott has frozen. We were worried about this. Scott's located actually down near Waratah Bay at this point in time. And it seems like, oh, there he is. He's back.
It just keeps dropping out for a little bit, so I'll try and do it before it does it again. Capital fund really is a product that's really designed.
What a pity it's happened again, just when he's he's getting onto the interesting stuff. What we might do is we might pick it up. Scott, how are you going? Do you want to
That's right.
turn your
I'm going to turn my
video
video
off?
off. There you go.
And see how that goes.
Uh,
Thanks, mate.
so the capital fund product is there for those types of projects, and we fund all the green bits. Let's keep going, Ed. So this is really an illustration which is animated there that you can see the power of term of loan. And so this is about reducing the annual repayments, because the project delivers the same amount of savings no matter what term you fund it over. And so cash is king, and where the greater green bit is there, you got more cash in your business today. So we can tailor that. We have minimum terms to ensure that projects do deliver positive cash flow into a business. But if you really want to maximize the opportunity of getting cash into your business today, going for the longer term, our product at the moment, it doesn't matter what the term of your loan is, the interest rate will be the same. So that's quite attractive. And because of the flexibility of an EUA where you can transfer it to both tenants and incoming owners, that enables you to capture the full value of your project, or the maximum value of your project today. If you can go on to the next slide. And why is this important? What we're seeing here is two charts, and it just illustrates a picture. The one on the top there is the falling cost of solar panels. And what we can see is that, over time, the cost of these systems have been going down and down, and we're seeing similar learning curves around batteries going into businesses as well. And combined with the chart on the bottom here is what we can see is that, particularly on the right-hand side, this is the wholesale cost of power going into your electricity bills, and that is driving costs up. And so we have seen a significant move, particularly in the last 3 months, of wholesale energy costs really going right up. The combination of these two, falling input costs falling panel costs but rising input costs, means that the payback for solar funded by an environmental upgrade agreement, it's cheaper to buy energy from your own roof than from the grid. That's what that basically means. The cheapest form of power is that which you energy efficiency, avoid, and then the second cheapest is that which you generate behind the meter. So the maths is compelling, and businesses who have a responsibility to try and increase profits today should be looking at this to manage their input costs. To put a bit of a comparison in there, I think it was Taz that was talking about the feed-in tariff of 6.7 cents. We looked at a system in Altona, including maintenance cost. The rough cost per kilowatt hour for a PV funded by an EUA, including maintenance cost, was about 7.5 cents per kilowatt hour, which means it's nearly the same amount which, if you fed all of the grid energy into the grid, you'd pay your EUA repayments there. And as you know, the repayment, the cost of energy into your business is a hell of a lot higher than 6.7 cents. So spreading that out there is a good way to make sure that you get savings into your business. Sorry, if you can go on to the next one. There's some interesting in our upgrade fund product here. We're starting to talk to a lot of customers that have some problems. We're funding replacement of asbestos roofs because, as you know, solar panels where asbestos roofs has traditionally been a barrier. You can't do anything on those roofs, but it also removes a problem and a liability for a business. So we can do asbestos removal, flammable cladding, coal stores, systems upgrades, a whole range of projects in water and waste efficiency projects up to here. Again, these projects are a little bit more bespoke, and so we would be looking to understand the project and the cash flows from it, and where there isn't a direct cash flow saving, there is often a benefit to the business more in a balance sheet way, and so this generally requires a little bit more credit understanding for a customer here. These are also a little bit more complicated projects, but we try and make it as quick and easy and simple as possible. Ed, next slide. Capital funds. This is a product probably not so relevant to people in this meeting, but effectively for property developers, this can increase the development rate of return when you sell a property and work with tenants to improve a property here. We get, and again, the tenor there and particularly the ability to pass this charge on to the incoming owners is where profits are really made for these types of customers. Sorry, next slide. So we've got a couple of case studies here. One is Hussey & Co. It's another Mornington Peninsula business down there, and they were an early adopter. They took an incremental approach into solar. So they first of all looked at a 100 kilowatt system on the roof of their shed factory down there, and then they too saw similar results to what Holly put up there, and I really liked those charts. The actual decrease in your energy bills there. They saw that it's a packing shed there, so it's rather energy intensive within there. So then their second stage, they went from 100 kilowatts and they put a further 500 kilowatts. So you can see they're ground mounted. And you can see the types of benefits that go to those businesses is, you see that, $86,000 savings per year. But over the life of it, that's $3 million of additional capital into the business, which really helps, particularly in an inflationary world, but, goes straight to the bottom line. You don't have to pass increased costs onto tenants, and you can maintain your operating business margins. The next one, please. This project, the reason I put it up here is to really illustrate that, yes, we've been talking a lot about solar and batteries and traditional projects, but this is an interesting project for a number of reasons, because it solves a different problem for what Booth Transport was. Booth Transport has a milk transfer station up in Strathmerton. Part of their problem was that every 24 hours they have to wash and process all of the internal pipework out, and that wastewater needed to be disposed of correctly into a trade waste system, which was not connected to the site there in Strathmerton. So what they were doing was filling up a tanker every day and shipping that back to Melbourne to legally dispose of it. So they had an additional shipping cost problem there. So they were looking at water treatment on site, and they looked at a number of systems. And what they ended up going for was what you can see there is 4 worm beds. They worm beds. They're filled with wood chips, actually sourced from the Mornington Peninsula, and the worms break down the proteins in the water, and then it gets transferred out to the back there, where you can see a desalination plant, and further out there is evaporative ponds. The benefit of this project is not only cost savings, but they're also selling clean water back into the irrigation channel you can see to the right-hand side there. So this had a multiple benefit, and we were able to provide 100% capital for this as a $4 million project. But it goes to the types of benefits that these projects can have. Because of the nature of an EUA, this was additional capital to the business. So this enabled them to do this and get cost savings into the business. But it also preserved their core capital, which enabled them to also invest into the mechanics workshop at the back and create, and for the benefits of councils here, create 15 extra FTEs for the region up in Strathmerton. So this delivered not only cash flow savings, but it delivered more clean water for the region by feeding clean water back into the irrigation channel, and it created jobs. So this was a win-win-win solution. I think, you know, what would the if you talk to Brian Booth and Mitchell Booth up there, what would the catch be? Is they had to do a lot of work to really understand how this water treatment plant really worked. So if I'm to kind of surmise where we're at with EUAs, it's new capital. It's really focused on putting cash into your business today, and it helps you to manage your business in a way that gives you flexibility, whether you're a tenant or a landlord. We have some new funding coming along into the future, which will help uh, increase access and speed to this form of capital. And we're launching a couple of new products into the future, would help increase the cash available to the business than any one of these case studies out here. So hopefully we'll share that kind of information through this network as and when we're ready to do that. But the nub of it is, let's put some cash into businesses today by doing environmental projects. We want to see every dollar we invest go to making the world a better place. So there you go. There's my pitch.
Great, thanks, Scott. Look, sounds like there's some exciting news on the horizon for everybody to keep their eyes and ears peeled for. So yeah, much appreciated. And yeah, look, that Strathmerton water treatment plant is one of my favourite case studies as well. Being a water engineer, or back in the day an old water engineer, that sort of water treatment process stuff is yeah, it's close to my heart in particular. And it's nice to see something different. No offense, Taz, something other than solar, to tell you the truth, mate.